I don't care if you have to hit me in the head with a sledgehammer. Make me see the light and help me get my life straight.
Country music has brought us voices and songs we'll never forget, but behind all the fame and hits, many legends faced hardships most of us can't imagine. Some stars who once enjoyed wealth ultimately passed away in poverty. Today, we're looking at 25 country music legends whose stories show just how fragile fame can be. How did these icons fall so far? Number 25, Billie Joe Spears.
Wait a minute, have you...
I've never sang before the Queen, so who cares if he sings or not?
Billie Joe Spears was a voice of strength, sass, and honesty in country music, a woman who dared to sing about real life when few others would. Born Billie Jean Moore, she started singing at just 13 years old, dreaming of a life on stage. With her warm Southern voice and fearless lyrics, she became one of the few country stars of the 70s to give women a bold, confident voice in a male-dominated industry. Her breakout hit, Mr. Walker, It's All Over, told the story of a woman standing up to workplace harassment. Then came Blanket on the Ground, her playful, rebellious anthem that topped charts around the world and became her signature song. Fans loved her honesty, her humor, and her willingness to sing about love and life without filters. Songs like 57 Chevrolet and Misty Blue kept her name glowing on stages across America and even overseas. But behind the applause and gold records, Billie Joe's life wasn't glamorous. By the 90s, her fame had faded and money had become a constant struggle. She played in small clubs for little pay, sometimes not even enough to cover her travel costs. When throat surgery damaged her voice, her career slowed even more. Then her record label collapsed, cutting off her royalty income completely. Still, she refused to give up. She worked to rebuild her career, especially in the UK, where fans adored her, but high travel costs and visa issues eroded her earnings. Billie Joe Spears lived modestly, far from the wealth her hits once promised. When she died of cancer in 2011, she left behind not riches, but a legacy of courage, honesty, and a reminder that even the brightest stars can fade quietly. Number 24, Dottie West. Born with a dream and a voice full of emotion, Dottie West rose from small-town Tennessee roots to become one of country music's most loved stars. Her songs about love, heartbreak, and strength touched millions, and she even made history as one of the first women in Nashville to win a Grammy. But behind the bright stage lights, Dottie's financial world was falling apart. By the late 80s, her career had slowed down, and the money she once earned so easily was slipping away. She made bad business choices, invested in the wrong things, and spent more than she could afford. As the bills piled up, the IRS came knocking. At one point, Dottie was forced to file for bankruptcy, owing over $1 million. At first, she tried to reorganize her finances under Chapter 11, but soon things got worse. She had to switch to Chapter 7, meaning she had to give up almost everything she owned. Her beautiful mansion was taken by the bank. The IRS sold her prized possessions, including her baby grand piano and her cherished Cadillac, just to cover her debts. As if that wasn't enough, Dottie also faced painful lawsuits from her management team and a former manager. It seemed like everything she had worked for was slipping through her fingers. Even through all this, Dottie kept performing and smiling for her fans, holding on to hope that things would get better. But just a year later, tragedy struck. Her life ended far too soon, and sadly, she left this world with more debts than dollars, a star whose light dimmed too early. Number 23, Conway Twitty. Born Harold Jenkins, Conway Twitty rose to fame as one of country music's greatest voices, with a career that broke records and touched hearts around the world. At the height of his career, Conway had more #1 hits than any other country artist. His smooth voice and emotional songs made him a true legend. Throughout his life, Conway wasn't just a singer, he was also a businessman. He owned recording studios, invested in real estate, and even launched a restaurant chain called Twitty Burger. But that venture didn't go as planned. The business failed within a few years, leaving investors at a loss. Most stars would have walked away, but Conway didn't. Out of integrity and loyalty, he personally paid back every dollar he owed, even though it took him years. Despite his success, Conway's story took a sad turn after his death. His passing left behind not only a musical legacy, but also a tangled web of legal and financial troubles. A bitter dispute broke out between his widow and his children over his estate and will. The legal battle dragged on for years, costing thousands of dollars and forcing the sale of many of his prized assets, including his beloved Twitty City, a dream property he had built for his family and fans. By the time it was over, much of what Conway had built was gone. Number 22. Eddie Rabbitt.
A certain place in time and just go boom, and it locks, because here you had a great...
When Eddie first arrived in Nashville, the city of country music didn't roll out a red carpet for him. He was just another hopeful songwriter with big dreams and an empty wallet. To survive, he worked any job he could find, driving trucks, scooping ice cream, even picking fruit in the hot sun. And when he finally got a small songwriting job at Hill and Range Publishing, it paid just barely enough to get by. But Eddie didn't complain. He kept writing, kept believing that one song could change everything. That moment finally came when Elvis Presley recorded Eddie's song, Kentucky Rain. The song became a massive hit, selling over 1 million copies and putting Eddie Rabbitt's name on the map. Practically overnight, the man who once struggled to pay rent was now earning real money. After that, Eddie's career soared. He wasn't just a songwriter anymore, he became a singer with a voice full of heart and warmth. Hits like I Love a Rainy Night and Drivin' My Life Away made him popular with both country and pop fans. His shows sold out, his albums went platinum, and through hard work and determination, he built a comfortable and successful life. But sadly, Eddie Rabbitt's life was cut short, and soon after, his money ran out. Number 21. Jimmy Capps. Jimmy Capps grew up with a love for music that carried him all the way to Nashville. When he arrived to play with the Louvin brothers, he didn't even have enough money for the musicians' union fees. Broke but determined, he was allowed to pay little by little, a small kindness that helped launch one of country music's most trusted guitarists. Over the decades, Jimmy became a pillar of Nashville. Though he stayed behind the spotlight, his smooth guitar playing shaped records by George Jones, Conway Twitty, Alan Jackson, and countless others. As a longtime member of the Grand Ole Opry Band, he played on dozens of #1 hits. Despite his success, Jimmy lived humbly and kept working late into life, giving back by helping struggling musicians through the union. When Jimmy passed away, there were no huge headlines, just a legacy of a man who almost went broke, saving others. Number 20. Faron Young.
I go to bed. If I go to bed, we won't get up that early and do anything because it's early in the morning. So we stayed up all night.
Yeah, the show.
Faron Young, once known as the hillbilly heartthrob, was one of country music's biggest names. With his charming smile and smooth voice, he lit up the airwaves from the 50s through the 80s. When he signed with Capitol Records, his career took off like wildfire. His song, Going Steady, became an instant hit, and fans across America fell in love with his heartfelt sound and playful personality. Through the 60s, Faron wasn't just a singer, he was a businessman. He bought real estate, toured constantly, and even founded Music City News, a magazine that promoted Nashville's rising stars. He helped younger artists and built a name as one of the most generous and respected figures in country music. At his peak, Faron seemed unstoppable. Fame, fortune, and influence were all his. But time has a way of changing everything. By the 70s, the sound of country music began to shift. New voices took over the charts and radio stations started calling Faron's music old-fashioned. The spotlight that once followed him began to fade. Struggling to adjust, he made a decision that would haunt him forever. He sold his song publishing catalog for far less than it was worth. It was a move that cut off what could have been a lifetime of steady income. As the years went by, the money dried up. The star who once lived in luxury was now drowning in debt. Overwhelmed by financial ruin and depression, Faron Young ended his life in 1996. Number 19. Lefty Frizzell. Lefty Frizzell was a country music pioneer whose voice and style changed the way songs were sung. Born in the 20s, he rose to fame in the early 50s with hits like If You've Got the Money, I've Got the Time, and I Love You 1,000 Ways. His smooth drawl, unique phrasing, and heartfelt delivery influenced legends like Merle Haggard, George Jones, and Willie Nelson. At the height of his career, Lefty lived the life of a star, Cadillacs, flashy suits, and packed audiences. But behind the scenes, financial troubles were mounting. Exploitative contracts and poor decisions drained his earnings, and he turned to alcohol as stress grew. By the 70s, he had to sell publishing rights and pawn personal items just to survive. Years of heavy drinking damaged his health, and in 1975, Lefty Frizzell died at just 47, leaving friends to cover his funeral. His legacy still shapes country music today. Number 18, Johnny Paycheck.
And my family.
Paycheck told the judge his wife was dying of cancer and he needed to keep working to pay medical.
Born Donald Lytle, Johnny Paycheck rose to fame in the 70s with Take This Job and Shove It, a fiery anthem for frustrated workers. With his rebellious attitude and gravelly tone, Johnny became a key figure in the outlaw country scene, performing alongside icons like Waylon Jennings, Merle Haggard, and Willie Nelson. But behind the music, his life was chaotic. Substance and alcohol addiction, costly legal battles, and reckless spending drained his earnings, even as royalties and sold-out tours poured in. By the 80s, personal troubles overshadowed his talent. A prison sentence and IRS seizures left him nearly penniless, relying on friends and fans just to get by. Health problems later limited his career, and in 2003, Johnny Paycheck passed away at 64. His music lives on, but his life is a stark reminder that fame doesn't guarantee financial security. Number 17, Marty Robbins. Born Martin. David Robinson, Marty Robbins grew up in deep poverty as one of 9 children. His father struggled with alcoholism, and after his parents' divorce, Marty's family moved constantly across the Arizona desert, sometimes living in tents. As a teenager, he dropped out of school and took any job he could find, herding goats, breaking horses, or doing small labor just to survive. These hardships shaped his spirit and gave him a hunger to succeed. Marty poured his energy into music, writing songs full of love, loss, and life on the open road. His smooth voice and heartfelt lyrics made him a country music legend, with hits like El Paso and a fearless passion for stock car racing. Yet behind the fame, financial struggles lingered. Despite his success, Marty Robbins died with little money, a reminder that even stars can face hardship away from the spotlight. Number 16, Patsy Cline. Patsy Cline is remembered as one of country music's most beloved voices, but behind her smooth, powerful singing was a life filled with financial struggle and hardship. Born into poverty, Patsy's early years were far from easy. Her father struggled with drinking and eventually abandoned the family, leaving young Patsy to face life's challenges head-on. By the age of 15, she had dropped out of high school to help support her family, taking jobs in a poultry plant, a drugstore, and singing in local clubs just to keep food on the table. When she began her music career, the financial hardships didn't end. Her first contract with 4-Star Records was highly restrictive and stacked against her. She was only allowed to record songs owned by the label, earning a tiny royalty. By the time her contract ended, she owed the label nearly $5,000, having earned very little from years of work. Even desperate to survive, she signed another short-term deal with the same company for just $200, a sum barely enough to cover her daily needs. Despite her rising fame, Patsy's financial struggles continued. She helped friends in need, paying for their travel or gas when they couldn't afford it. But slowly, her talent began to bring stability. As her hits grew and she gained national attention, she used her earnings to provide for her family, buying them a home and creating a better life than she had known. Number 15, George Jones.
I don't care if you have to hit me in the head with a sledgehammer. Make me see the light and help me get my life straight.
George Jones, often called the greatest country singer, faced some of the toughest times of his life in the late 70s. He filed for bankruptcy with $65,000 in assets, but $1.5 million in debts. Alcohol and substance addiction caused him to miss many shows, earning him the nickname No-Show Jones, and led to legal and financial troubles. Despite these struggles, George's talent never faded. Hits like White Lightning and a career spanning over 160 chart singles made him a legend, admired worldwide for his unique voice and phrasing. His fourth wife, Nancy, played a key role in helping him rebuild both his life and career in the 80s. Jones continued to face health challenges from years of substance abuse, but he finally overcame his addictions after a serious car accident. He passed away at age 81, leaving a lasting legacy of music that shaped the country forever. Number 14, Hank Locklin. Hank Locklin was a pillar of classic country music, known for his smooth tenor voice and heartfelt delivery. Born in Florida, he captured hearts with hits like Send Me the Pillow You Dream On and Please Help Me, I'm Falling, the latter making him an international star and earning a long-standing place in the Grand Ole Opry. Hank had a gift for making every song feel personal, connecting deeply with listeners. he toured not only across the US, but also in Europe and Asia, gaining fans worldwide. Despite his fame, Hank's finances never matched his success. Early contracts favored record companies, and changing music trends in the 60s, plus mismanagement and a mysterious loan, left him struggling. He retired quietly to Bruton, Alabama, and passed away at 91, having lived a long life, but without the financial rewards he deserved. Still, Hank Locklin's music and legacy continue to inspire country fans around the world. Number 13, David Stringbean Akeman. Born in 1915, Stringbean rose to fame in the 40s as a member of Bill Monroe's band, lending his banjo to classics like Goodbye, Old Pal. His tall, lanky frame and exaggerated stage wardrobe made him instantly recognizable, while his comedic routines blended perfectly with his old-time country music, endearing him to audiences on the Grand Ole Opry and later on television's Hee Haw. Despite his fame, Stringbean lived a simple and frugal life. Scarred by the hardships of the Great Depression, he distrusted banks and avoided flashy displays of wealth. Instead, he hid his earnings in unusual places, behind bricks in his chimney, under floorboards in his rustic cabin outside Nashville, always wary that money could be stolen or lost. To fans, he often seemed modest, even poor, though his long career had earned him significant income. Tragically, this frugality contributed to his untimely death. After performing at the Grand Ole Opry, Stringbean and his wife Estelle were ambushed on their front porch by robbers who believed he kept hidden cash in the house. Both died, shocking Nashville and the country music world. Years later, the new owners of the cabin discovered bundles of cash. Number 12, Blaze Foley. Blaze Foley, born Michael David Fuller, was a songwriter and performer unlike any other, a true outsider whose life was as raw and unconventional as his music. Raised in Texas and singing gospel with his family group, the Singing Fuller Family, he eventually struck out on his own, crafting songs filled with honesty, heartbreak, and poetic beauty. Tracks like If I Could Fly showed his incredible ability to turn everyday struggles into timeless music, earning him admiration from fellow musicians, even if the wider public never fully discovered him. Blaze's eccentric personality only added to his legend. He adorned his clothes, boots, and belongings with duct tape, a practical choice turned signature style, earning him the nickname the Duct Tape Messiah. He wandered from town to town, performing in bars and small clubs, living life on his own terms and often hand to mouth. Despite his immense talent, he struggled constantly with poverty, relying on friends and the generosity of others just to get by. Tragedy struck when Blaze was shot and killed at the age of 39 while defending a friend during a heated dispute. When paramedics arrived, they found only $30 in his pocket and an uncashed check among his belongings. Ironically, Blaze Foley's reputation grew after his death. Number 11, Townes Van Zandt. Born in Texas to a wealthy family, Townes Van Zandt gave up the privilege to follow his passion for music. His songs, like Poncho and Lefty, If I Needed You, and Waiting Around to Die, were raw, honest, and deeply emotional, earning him the respect of fellow musicians who called him a genius. But behind the brilliance was a life of chaos. Diagnosed with bipolar disorder, Townes underwent treatments that harmed his memory and focus. A restless spirit, constant drifting from cheap motels to friends' couches, and heavy drinking made stability nearly impossible. Financially, he lived hand to mouth, often giving away checks or spending recklessly, leaving him far from secure despite earning royalties. While peers built commercial empires, Townes remained admired mainly by other musicians. Tragically, he died at 52 from health issues caused by years of alcohol abuse, leaving little money or possessions. His genius endured, but financial security never followed. Number 10, Jim Reeves. With his velvety baritone and calm stage presence, Jim Reeves captivated audiences not just in the United States, but around the world. Hits like Mexican Joe, Adios Amigo, Welcome to My World, and Am I Losing You made him a superstar, and cemented his place among the greats of his era. On stage and in public, Reeves appeared to have it all. He owned a private plane, invested in cattle, and seemed to have long-term financial stability. But behind the polished image, cracks were forming. Like many artists of his time, he trusted business partners too much and signed contracts that left him vulnerable. Much of his earnings were tied up in deals that didn't fully protect him, and the system around him was stacked against the artist. Tragically, Jim Reeves's life was cut short when his private plane crashed near Nashville, killing him instantly at just 40 years old. What seemed like a secure estate quickly turned into a nightmare. Reeves had little financial safety at the time of his death. His fortune had been drained by poor contracts and mismanagement. His widow, Mary Reeves, faced years of struggle just to untangle the financial chaos, often having to mortgage their home and fight legal battles that dragged on for decades. Number 9. Waylon Jennings. Waylon Jennings was one of the most iconic voices of country music, a pioneer of the outlaw movement that shook Nashville in the 70s. With his deep, commanding voice and rebellious spirit, Jennings became a star almost overnight, recording hit after hit and commanding massive audiences. Yet behind the fame and sold-out concerts, financial struggles shadowed his success. By the 80s, Jennings' life was marked by a dangerous habit, an addiction that quickly drained his fortune. Despite being one of the top-earning country artists, he found himself drowning in debt of $2.5 million and eventually declared bankruptcy. His financial troubles were not new. Earlier in his career, he once lost a large sum of money playing poker with fellow musician Merle Haggard, a mistake that lingered in his mind for years. But Jennings was determined to fix his situation. Confronted with bankruptcy, he threw himself into work, taking on extra shows and tours to pay back every debt. While he managed to rebuild his life, much of it was defined by his ongoing struggles. Number 8. Graham Parsons. Graham Parsons remains one of the most fascinating yet tragic figures in country music history. Born in Florida to a wealthy family, Parsons seemed destined for a life of comfort. Yet the fortune he inherited in his early 20s quickly disappeared, lost to reckless spending, substance abuse, and a hedonistic lifestyle. Despite this early privilege, he died poor, leaving behind little more than his groundbreaking music. Parsons first gained fame as a member of the Byrds, contributing to their album Sweetheart of the Rodeo, which brought country sounds into rock music and helped create the country rock genre. He later co-founded the Flying Burrito Brothers, a band whose music would influence generations of artists. Parsons also pursued a solo career, mentoring Emmylou Harris and showcasing the emotional depth of their duets. His artistry was bold, innovative, and ahead of its time. But Parsons' personal life was as chaotic as his music was brilliant. Substance and alcohol addictions consumed him, draining both his energy and the fortune he had inherited. By the early 70s, he was scraping by just to survive, unable to achieve commercial success despite his influence. Friends and fans admired his talent, but mainstream audiences largely overlooked him. Tragically, during a trip to Joshua Tree, California, Parsons overdosed at just 26 years old. In a final act of rebellion, his friends honored his wish to be cremated in the desert by taking his body and setting it ablaze. His estate, already burdened with debts, left almost nothing behind. Number 7. Tammy Wynette. Tammy Wynette, known as the First Lady of Country Music, rose from a childhood of poverty in Mississippi to become a country icon. Before fame, she worked as a hairdresser to support her family. Her hits like Stand By Your Man and Divorce gave women a powerful voice in country music and made her a legend with emotional, unforgettable performances. But behind the success, financial troubles shadowed her life. Failed investments and debts forced Wynette and her husband to file for bankruptcy. Despite her fame, she faced personal, legal, and health struggles, leaving her estate burdened by debt when she passed. Number 6. Larry Jon Wilson. Larry Jon Wilson was a soulful singer-songwriter from Georgia whose music quietly left a lasting mark on American music. With a deep baritone voice and a gift for storytelling, he blended country, folk, and blues into a style all his own. His debut, New Beginnings, and later albums like Loose Change and The Sojourner earned praise for their honesty and emotion, and his appearance in Heart-Worn Highways made him a respected figure among fellow songwriters. But Wilson's career faced many struggles. Considered too unpolished for radio and lacking strong label support, his albums sold modestly. By the 80s, he had to leave music, working ordinary jobs to support his family. Encouraged by friends, he returned to performing in small venues, but financial stability never followed. When he died from a stroke at age 69, he left more debts than assets. Number 5. Chris LeDoux. Chris LeDoux was more than a country singer. He was a rodeo cowboy whose life was full of grit and determination. Born in Wyoming, he rode from rodeo to rodeo, earning just enough to get by. In the 70s, he and his wife often couldn't afford hotels, selling his self-produced music tapes from the back of his truck to survive. Financial struggles continued, including a near foreclosure on his ranch, but he kept going. His big break came when Garth Brooks mentioned him in a hit song. LeDoux went on to record 36 albums, sell millions, and leave a lasting legacy of perseverance. Number 4. Hank Snow. Hank Snow was one of country music's most influential stars, with a career spanning over 4 decades. Growing up in extreme poverty, those early struggles shaped both his character and his music. His songs celebrated travel, freedom, and resilience, reflecting a life shaped by hardship. Hits like I'm Moving On, The Golden Rocket, and I've Been Everywhere made him a household name, admired for his distinctive voice and adventurous spirit. Although Snow enjoyed financial success, trusting the wrong people and mismanaging investments drained much of his wealth. Floods and failed ranch ventures added to his troubles. Despite this, he remained devoted to performing, appearing at the Grand Ole Opry into his later years. When he died, his debts were surprisingly large. Yet Hank Snow's legacy lives on. His music continues to inspire, proving that true artistry lasts far longer than money ever can. Number 3. Hank Williams. Hank Williams is one of the country music's most influential figures, with hits like Your Cheatin' Heart and Hey Good Lookin', shaping the genre for generations. Born in rural Alabama during the Great Depression, he grew up in extreme poverty, and his early struggles left a lasting mark. Even after achieving fame, financial troubles followed him. Heavy drinking, band disputes, and personal issues often left him with little money. Despite recording 55 top 10 singles, Hank died virtually penniless at just 29. Number 2. Tommy Collins. Tommy Collins was a key figure in country music and a pioneer of the Bakersfield sound in the 50s and 60s. As a singer and songwriter, he scored hits like It Tickles and What You Gonna Do Now, and wrote songs that became classics for other artists. Faron Young's If You Ain't Lovin', You Ain't Livin', and George Strait's later version both became top hits, while Buck Owens released an entire chart-topping album of Collins' songs, cementing his influence. Despite his professional success, Collins' life was full of struggle. Substance and alcohol addiction, a difficult divorce, and periods of career decline led to financial instability that he never overcame. He continued to create music but lived with hardship behind the scenes. When he passed away in 2000, he left little in wealth, though his musical legacy and impact on country music remained strong, inspiring generations of artists. Number 1. Johnny Horton. Johnny Horton was a dynamic country music star of the 50s, known for blending honky-tonk, rockabilly, and historical ballads. Hits like the Battle of New Orleans earned him international fame and a Grammy Award. His storytelling and energetic performances left a lasting mark on country music, with his songs still celebrated decades later. Tragically, Horton's life and career were cut short when a drunk driver caused a head-on collision in Texas, and he died at just 35 while his bandmates were seriously injured. Beyond the heartbreak, his poor financial planning left his widow, Billie Jean, struggling with debts. Contracts and unpaid royalties tied up his earnings, forcing her to take menial jobs to support herself and their daughter. Even as his music continued to thrill audiences, his family faced hardship. Johnny Horton's story is a stark reminder that talent and fame alone cannot protect against financial instability, even after death. Which of these stars joining the ranks surprised you the most? Do you think they could have handled things differently? Let us know your thoughts in the comments.